Hello from my side. Welcome everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining us from. Once again, from my side, I'm very delighted to welcome all of you here to our first Vienna Energy Forum youth event, and also especially to our virtual tour on South technology transfer, how ethanol production from cassava can reduce emissions in Asia. My name is Nina. I'm an intern at the UNIDO headquarters in Vienna at the Department of Energy, and I will be your moderator for today's virtual tour. Today, we will hear about a project that UNIDO implemented, working closely with the Thai government and research agencies to transfer knowledge in the context of bioethanol production from cassava roots. The project's main aim was to transfer the innovative technology developed by King Mongkut's University of Technology Thonburi to neighboring countries, in particular Vietnam and Laos PDR. The great opportunity of today's tour is that we are not only getting an insight into the technology by taking a sneak peek into the project side, but moreover, we do have two experts here with us that will give us more detail about the project and also its impact. And we will have the chance to pose our questions to them after our virtual tour in a discussion round. But before we go into more detail and start our virtual tour, kindly let me introduce you to some housekeeping. Some of you have already joined other sessions during today. Most of us are quite familiar with webinar tools already since the pandemic of last year. Anyways, as you can see, we do have a chat function as well as a Q&A function. For today, I ask you, please use the Q&A function to post your questions to the speakers at any time during the virtual tour or during the presentations. At the end of our session, during our discussion round, I will read out the questions to the speakers, and the speakers will then address these questions. For the chat function, I invite you to introduce yourself, tell us where you're joining us from, tell us who you are. This way, you as participants can also interact with each other. Now I would like to introduce you to our experts, Dr. Varenton Sonkasiri and Tony Kanasuk. Welcome. I'm very glad to have you here with us today. Dr. Varenton Sonkasiri is currently a director of the Biochemical Engineering and Systems Biology Research Group at the National Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology. She's also a vice president for research strategy of King Mongkut's University of Technology Thonburi. She has been working in the environmental and renewable energy areas with a particular focus on energy and resource efficiency for food and agro industries and biogas technology. Welcome, Varenton. We are very glad to have you here today.
Thank you very much, Nina, and nice to meet you all.
Our second speaker, Tony Kanasuk, has 23 years of work experience within the field of renewable energy and energy efficiency in Southeast Asian countries. His key expertise lies in providing policy advisory and government relationship management, advising on project development, and conducting technical and financial feasibility studies. He worked with several leading energy consultancy firms, technology transfer and development agencies, such as MC Energy, W2T, GIZ, and with UNIDO on South Technology Transfer Project under the JEF4 cycle. Also to you, Tony, we are very glad to have you here today. To start our session, sorry, Tony.
Sorry.
To start our session, Tony will give us an overview of the project site and the technology used to produce ethanol from fresh root cassava. Tony, I invite you. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Nina, and welcome all of you to join this session. Before I go into the my presentation, I have some very nice video overview about the project. You watch about 5 minutes. So let me start showing the video.
Thailand needs rapid economic expansion to take care of the welfare of its growing population, currently at 67 million. It requires energy to propel its growth. However, Thailand has been a net importer of energy products, about 1.37 million barrels per day in year 2017. which are mostly from crude oil, coal, and LNG significantly. Even though Thailand has had to import crude oil from abroad for many years, it has continued searching for alternative energy sources to reduce its dependency on oil imports and to capitalize on its supplies of feedstock from its vast agricultural production. Since the year 2000, Thailand, the world's top cassava exporter, has been a pioneer among Asian countries to promote biofuel production and its usage. Cassava, the most important feedstock and a basic crop widely cultivated domestically and around the rest of Asia, could be a key raw material for ethanol production. The success of this bioenergy application not only reduce oil imports, but also generate incomes for local farmers, as well as contributing to the reduction of carbon dioxide in the air. Thailand's King Mongkut's University of Technology, Thonburi, or KMUTT, has developed an innovative technology called Very High Gravity Simultaneous Saccharification and Fermentation, or VHG-SSF. This was developed through production knowledge to increase the yield of cassava in factory raw material management and fermentation technology in order to increase ethanol plant-level efficiency. It offers higher productivity of cassava production and reduces energy use and the time during the fermentation process. With the new cassava-based bioethanol production technology, fresh cassava roots can be used instead of cassava chips. As an alternative raw material for ethanol production, cassava, in the form of fresh roots, represents an additional input that could increase the productivity and farmers' returns. Thailand's success is a notable example of the movement towards alternative energy for its developing neighboring countries. In 2012, GEF approved a project in Thailand that aims to overcome policy, market, and technological barriers to produce ethanol from cassava, utilizing innovative South-South technology transfer to CLMV countries. This project is implemented by UNIDO. The project is funded under the Poznan Strategic Program on Technology Transfer for Climate Change under the UN Framework for the Climate Change Convention. This gives support to prioritize pilot projects on climate change mitigation technologies and the dissemination of successfully demonstrated climate-friendly technologies that are developed with the aim of enhancing mechanical effectiveness. UNIDO has therefore supported the transfer of technology to interested persons, researchers, engineers, and technicians from neighboring countries, as well as working together with the Thai Tapioca Development Institute, or TTDI, to train farmers on how to grow quality cassava in both Thailand and its neighboring countries. However, the process to promote the development of ethanol production technology will not be useful and may eventually have to end if it is not promoted or used to generate sufficient economic value, since private investment is needed to upscale the ethanol production, and it is well known that investors require a reliable business environment. UNIDO realizes the importance of this matter and has therefore been providing a number of training courses to strengthen the capacity of policymakers, to promote policy dialogues with government officials, to instigate the development of relevant economic policies and laws, and to raise public awareness on the benefits of the production and the usage of ethanol from cassava in Vietnam and Lao PDR. Now, Vietnam has officially announced a public policy to use E5 as an alternative energy for transportation throughout the country. The policy has been effective since January 1st, 2018. Lao PDR is also moving forward in the same direction with the development of ethanol production from cassava and is expected to continue and strengthen in the near future. Today's clean technology innovation will fuel the next industrial revolution, unlocking business opportunities for prosperity while protecting the planet. Transfer technology, deliver better living.
Yeah, I think you heard about the overview of the project by the video. And then now I would like to give a little bit more detail about the project overview. Have you anyone seen my screen clearly?
Yeah, it's working well.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So the project is, we are promoting the South-South technology transfer. But in the case that for this case, we use the pilot case of ethanol production from cassava. As in Thailand, we have quite a very good researcher and a very good professor who has developed very good technologies on ethanol production from fresh root cassava. So therefore, we are trying to see that within the Asia itself, how we're going to develop, because we already developed this kind of technologies, how we're going to transfer this kind of technology to the developing countries. So that's why this project is starting. Sorry, I cannot move my slide again. Please wait. What happened again? Can you see the slides moving?
Yes.
Okay. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. I don't know what happened. Okay, so I would like to give the project a little bit. That this project is funded by the Jeff as part of the Project Strategic Program on the Technology Transfer for Climate Change under the United Frameworks for Climate Change Convention, or UNFCCC. And this project is implemented by the UNIDO. For the project itself, we have Thailand, and then also we call CLMV countries that we are going to expand our technologies to. See, is Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, and Vietnam. But after we start implementing the project, we found out that only Vietnam and Laos that has potentials that can do the transfer of technologies, while Myanmar is still quite really the earlier stage. So we only implement activities only on the trainings, also the same as the Cambodia. So for Thailand itself, we have a biotech, or KMUTT, who is the main executing partner of the projects, who developed the VHG SSF technologies. And we also have a support from the Thai Tapioca Development Institute, who was working on the how to increase the yield of the cassava roots. Because we foreseen that even, let's say, we use the cassava, which can use for food and also can use for energy. So that is maybe a conflict between both of them. So therefore, we see that how to improve the yield of the cassava is also a key to implement this project. So therefore, we also invite the TTDI or Thai Tapioca Development Institute to join the project as well. And also we also have a liquor distillery organization who is supposed to be the first private sector who implement this project. But therefore, but during the project implementation, we foresee that LDO or liquor distillery organization, they only do some kind of the pilot project. But due to the project, we are going to expand to the commercial scale. So therefore, we change the project a little bit. But for Vietnam and Laos, who is receiving of the technologies, we also involve of the Ministry of Industry and Trade, or MOIT, in Vietnam, who will support on the policy implementation of the projects. And also we also have the Food Industry Research Institute, who will be technology receiver, is some kind like a community in Thailand, who will be provide the technologies and do the pilot projects in Vietnam and scaling up to the all over Vietnam countries. For in Laos, we have involved the Ministry of Energy and Mine, and also the Institute of Renewable Energy and Promotion under the Ministry of Energy and Mine, who will support in terms of policy support on the project. And we also have a Kongsedon company, who's a private sector, who are interested in the projects. After we do some activity of the trainings, and then they are quite interested of the project. Therefore, they also join the project and implement the pilot scale, which is the capacity of about 10,000 liters per day by themselves in Laos. The project duration is about 4 years. We start in the Q4 of 2013 and end up in Q4 of 2017. This is within the project duration, but due to the project, we also extend the project until Q4 of 2018. With a budget of the JEF funded $2.6 million US. And location, we have a Thailand, and the rest is Vietnam and Laos that we focus in the project. And the donor is Jeff. And this I would like to touch a little bit on the project goal. This is quite important to implement the project like this, as the project is they have many components and many activities. So sometimes we implement on the activities until we forgot that what is the activity will lead to what is output that we are going to achieve, and what is the outcome that we are going to achieve to implement the output, and what is actually the project goal. So therefore, during our project implementation, we also discuss, and then we stick into the project goal every meeting that we have. So the project goal, within the project itself, we would like to achieve 400,000 liters per day of ethanol productions from the new technologies, either from the greenfield itself or the implement into the existing ethanol factories, which can accumulate to 2.7 million tons of CO2 equivalent for the period of 10 years. And then we also have the another goal is after the project complete. So we like to ensure that project still continue. And then we have an aim to at least 800,000 liters per day of ethanol production for the period of 10 years, or cumulative to 5.5 million tons CO2 equivalents. This is of the project goal. And we come into the project structure. The project structure, we have about 4 components. The first component, we are going to focus on the institutional capacity development. So which means that we are trying to strengthen the capacity of the technology provider in Thailand, which is a KMGTT or a biotech. We also established the information hubs. We also have a ethanol technology package. We also have a manual and toolkits on how to implement these projects. And we also have a database to gather all the information and then release the information. And for the component 2, we are focused on the South-South technique transfer. So how the transfers look like, we focus on the capacity development. For example, we also have a regional awareness created, which include of the high ranking of the each countries to come to discuss together on how to promote the ethanol productions. And we also have quite a lot of trainings, either in Thailand or in Vietnam and in Laos. And we also have working on the pricing practice and policy as well. This is quite an important key of the component 2. For the component 3 is on the demonstration and then the commercialize of the projects. We are working with the demonstration plan in Thailand. We have a training in Vietnam. We also have a demonstration plan of the capacity of 50 liter per day in Vietnam. We also working on the financing opportunity improve on the projects. We conduct like financial feasibility study of the ethanol production from cassava from the greenfield itself, and also from the attached to the existing technologies. We also involved on the private sector, assist in the project development. We try to invite all the private sector to join the projects, because this project they cannot implement by the government itself or the researcher itself. We need the private sector involved. This is quite a key. That's why we also have a quite involved the private sector in these projects. And then we try to establish the commercialize of the project in Vietnam and Laos. And also we also have conduct the lesson learned and information distribute to the project as well. For the component 4 is on the project management, on how are we going to manage the projects. So for the detail of each component, or success story of each component, or barrier of this component, or challenge and lesson learned, you can learn from Dr. Balinton. She will give a lot information in detail later. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tony, for giving us an overview of the project and also telling us a little bit about the different project components. Indeed, we are all very curious to hear now a lot more about the details of the project and project activities, and also want to understand the challenges faced and also opportunities and lessons learned. So I hand over to you, Dr. Barrington. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Nina. Right. Can you see the slide? All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Just to recap a little bit, our project has the goal to, we would like to achieve the ethanol production during the timeline of the project for 400,000 liters per day, and we would like to increase capacity of throughout value chain of the ethanol production in ASEAN countries, and improve policy and pricing environment. And also we would like to have private sector involved in the project implementation, along with the financial institutions. And also after the project end, we would like to have replication projects to go on for that. So to make it easier for you to understand our project, the old ethanol production system from Cassava, we normally on the left side, we normally get the fresh roots first and then make the cassava chip from the fresh roots. And after that, the cassava chips will go to process of milling, which we have to add water along with the cleaning process and mixing and go through the saccharification and fermentation to make the bioethanol. But our VHG SSF system is very high gravity, uh, simultaneously saccharification fermentation system, use the cassava fresh roots, and then through the simultaneous saccharification and fermentation, and we increase the density or the gravity, specific gravity of the solution to make it more concentrated and to make the bioethanol. So our process decrease the amount of water consumption, the amount of electricity or energy consumption, as well as we utilize we took out several steps of the making fresh roots to cassava chip as well. So as Tony said that we have 4 components here in our project. The first one is institutional capacity strengthening for KMUTT and our partners. The second one is South technology transfer to LMV countries. And the third one is demonstration and commercialization of technology and private sector development. And the fourth one is project management. These are the detail of our components, and we can share the slide with you later. So I go to the South technology transfer achievement here. For the promotion and dissemination, we have the information hub established physically and virtually through website and Facebook page here. We went to several exhibitions and conferences, for example, renewable energy and energy efficiency in Vietnam, ASEAN Sustainable Energy in Thailand, and also COP24, a site event with the Thailand Pavilion here. And we also we finalized and disseminate the South technology transfer and lesson learned report throughout all these events and also through our website and Facebook as well. For the capacity development, I would like to highlight this one because at the beginning we thought that we work on bioethanol production, so we should focus only on but turned out that the agriculture sector is very important. So the farmer involving in production, the cassava roots are very important. They are the main stakeholders for us. So we increased the workshop for farmers as well for CLMV countries here. For the capacity development, we have the introductory workshop for farmers. The content include the broad aspect such as national and global policy, feedstock, standards, incentives, and regulations. And then they focus on cassava variety development, good agricultural practices, and also the ethanol production process. And also we have the intensive workshops for technicians and entrepreneurs on bioethanol production from cassava fresh roots. So the content would be on practice on analysis of roots, starch hydrolysis, ethanol production, and all the fermentation techniques. This training course conducted in Thailand, and we have in the total of 313 participants from CLMV countries, and we also have participants from Philippines and Thailand as well. As you can see here, we have participants as farmers, technicians, engineers, and entrepreneurs here. So This slide shows you the photographs of our activity. We have lecture-based training course. We have discussions with experts and participants, and site visits at Cassava farms and at the TTDI as well, for the hands-on training on harvesting, disease control, and pest and weed controls. And also we have follow-up activities at Vietnam and Laos PDR here. And this is the photographs of our intensive workshop for technicians and entrepreneurs. As you can see here, the basics one is the knowledge transfer through lecture is still going on, and discussion with experts are also uh, uh, held. And we have the site visit at the ethanol factories and also at the pilot plant at KMDT. We have our own pilot plant, and the hands-on training at the Cassava Starch Unit Center, Research Center at Ksesat University. So each participant learned how to analyze the quality of the ethanol as well as the cassava quality, and also the follow-up activity to customize or the lab work or analytical work based upon the uh, ability and facility of the countries of our partners here. Other here, the capacity development achievement, we also have manuals and then also toolkits here. From English, we translated into Vietnamese and in Thai as well. So Lao PDR can use the Thai version here. So we have another 147 participants for the 4 training course and workshop. And this is the capacity building in Vietnam. The Food Industry Research Institute held 4 training workshops, and they have the 147 participants for the workshop with their pilot scale with the capacity of 120 liters per day here. So another point is that we also involved in the policy support especially in Vietnam. So we develop policy intervention and pricing tools for policymakers in Vietnam, and develop policy and action plan for ethanol production and consumption in Laos PDR. And we have the training course and workshop in Laos PDR, and develop the guideline for tax revenue recycling handbook for CLMV here. Several pilot plants established here. The first one is that the pilot plant that we switched from liquor distillery organization to private company, private factory named Subtip, that they produce ethanol from cassava already. So they switched their technology to use our technology, and they have the pilot plant with a capacity of 200 liters per day, and the plant capacity can increase by 25%, and the water consumption of the plant reduced by at least 12% here. And another demonstration plant is at Fury with 100. The first one is 50 liters per day, but the plant was designed with a capacity of 120 liters per day, and then they use this for training as well. And the private sector were assisted in this project, especially the private sector in Laos PDR, Kongsadon Company Limited. The company is the alcoholic beverage company, but they would like to expand their business into producing bioethanol from cassava for transportation sector. So it's the first pilot bioethanol plant from cassava with the production capacity of 10,000 liters per day in Salavan province in Laos PDR. Another one is that the project helped with the financial opportunities here. So in Laos PDR, we have 2 financial feasibility studies to integrate our technology to existing ethanol plant, and greenfield ethanol projects here, and also the training on financial institutions in February 2018 with 24 participants here. In Vietnam, FIRIS support private sector company to develop 3 financial feasibility studies and an investment guideline for bioethanol production from cassava is finalized already to support interested project developer and investor in CLMV countries. And this is the bioethanol production technology commercialized in Lao PDR with the Kongstone company with the plant capacity of 10,000 liters a day. And there will be also the further contribution from UNIDO under public-private partnership there with the Ministry of Mine and Energy of Lao PDR to invest in the next step to be 200,000 liters per day. And also Vietnam, they support several private sector companies, especially Thang Nam company, to integrate the very high gravity SSF bioethanol production process into their production process. And the ethanol plant has the capacity of 300,000 liters per day. So we have been with the project for about 4 years, and we learned a lot from this South-South technology transfer project. The first one is that policy support is very crucial in supporting new technology such as bioethanol production. And so it's very crucial to counter all uncertainty of policy support, especially in several countries in ASEAN as well. And support to implement market-driven strategies to replace government subsidies is a key issue, and development of commercially viable business models for the promotion of new innovation and technology transfer is important to ensure investment of private sector stakeholders. And also the role of facility is very important for to follow up and clarify and help consult the private sector in their own countries, and the collaboration with financial institutions to provide the financial package for investment is very important here. So those are the key main issues from this project, summarized in about 20 minutes from 4 years experience of art. So thank you very much for now.
Thank you very much, Dr. Warrington, for giving us more detailed information on the project. I'm sure it's difficult to summarize it all in just 20 minutes. But yeah, you gave us an inspiring, it was just inspiring to hear how the project
it's
also
addresses. 4
addresses.
years experience.
Yeah, it's good to see how it addresses social, environmental, and economic challenges the region is facing. So at this point, I would like to go over to our discussion round. And as I can see, we already do have one question in our Q&A section. Josie Thomas would like to know, could you please update on the Asian Center for Cassava and its activities these days?
All right. So let me try first. So we still have the ASEAN Cassava Center activities ongoing, and also we, after the UNIDO project, we use the UNIDO experience to ask for more funding, and we received 2 funding support projects from the Mekong Institute. So this is the Greater Mekong Region Institute that they provide the funding support. The first one we received the budget from Republic of China, and the second one is Korea. And to implement not only the bioethanol process, but also we include the harvesting of cassava along with the waste treatment of the bioethanol and to produce biogas. And another project we add on to create more value-added products from cassava products. So those are ongoing, and I think it will be ongoing for another 2 or 3 years. And we would like to expand our knowledge and technology transfer to not only ASEAN countries, but we would like to expand it to other regions of the world here. So what we are trying to do is to build the online training course, which is very difficult. If you would like to build it online, the very high quality online course. So we have to go back and learn all the steps now. So I'm very glad to say that we are still working on the cassava industry, the whole value chain. So thank you for the question, Joseph.
Thank you very much. So while our audience is still warming up, I think I would like to ask a question from my side. I think it also relates to this one. What can you tell after now, am I right, 2.5 years after the project? What happened in the meantime? What happened to this particular technology? Did you share it with a wider circle?
Tony, you would like to add this a little bit?
After 2 years,
during this past 2 years. I think we expand. Let me start, and then Tony can add in.
Yeah.
We continue to work with the Kongstern company in Lao PDR. They would like to expand their production capacity, increase their production capacity. So even Tony still help with the process, which include financial process for the bank and the design of the plant, the big capacity one as well. And Tony could update more with Fury as well.
For Vietnam, I think the project that we did with Philly in Vietnam, the food industry, right? I mentioned earlier that they have a pilot project of the 120 liter per day that we established in Vietnam. I think that is quite a good success of the project as well, because that one is just the use for training, of course, purpose. And at the same time, they have a lot of private sector who are working in the industry, in the ethanol industries, that they came and then try to learn about this technology, and they're very interested in this kind of technologies as well. So therefore, they are working a lot with the Philly at the moment, that they are trying to integrate this community technology to their existing facility. Yeah.
Thank you. Now I see we do have a question from Katharina. Thank you very much for this interesting presentation. How relevant do you think ethanol production from cassava is for other regions, countries in the world? What are important criteria to consider?
All right. Let me start with this. I think cassava, when we talk about cassava, we talk about the whole value chain of cassava. So cassava can be used to produce several products. One is the bioethanol product. So if you talk about bioethanol for transportation sector, now we have EV, a lot of EV going in, even in Thailand. Now we discuss about this a lot. So you have to balance between this, but in Thailand currently, bioethanol is not mainly focused for the transportation sector. We think about it as the raw material for producing higher value products as well. So in Thailand now, in another group on the catalytic reaction that transform ethanol to other products. So it become, so we are promoting bioeconomy right now. So we think that is one option for ethanol as well. So you have to balance between the two.
Yeah, and can I add a little bit on this one? I think one thing that I think is also important, apart from Dr. Warinthorn mentioned, is about the species, the type of the cassava in this country, because I think the starch content in cassava in this country also different. So to answer that to Catalina, yeah, I think this also need to be considered as well for the feedstock. Maybe in another country, maybe cassava maybe not a good crop, but maybe I don't know, sugar maybe is a better one. So I think it's depend on what type of feedstock that we can reliable on, and then make sure that it's sustained. Because when we implement this project, we don't talk about 1 year or 2 years project. We talk about at least 20 years. It has to be stay with us for 10 to 20 years. So the feedstock is quite important on this case, and also the technology itself. Yeah.
Sure.
Sorry.
I like to thank you, Tony.
ครับ
Sorry
พี่ครับ
about that.
Sorry ครับ
I like to add a little bit, because when you talk about if you use cassava as the focus, cassava can produce several products here. They can produce starch and starch, native starch, and then modified starch and ethanol and other products as well. So for native starch, it could go into the food factories, in your ketchup and in your everything else in the textile industry, as along with modified starch and ethanol. So for example, in African regions, they produce cassava root as well, or tapioca or manihok, but they use it for food because their cassava variety doesn't contain a lot of cyanide, so they can eat it directly. But cassava in Thailand contain a lot of cyanide content, so it has to go through the process for starch and for ethanol. But when you talk about cassava, each country, I think, can uh, can plan what ratio or what proportion of cassava they would like to go to which sectors or those things. And for the starch, it might produce waste, but waste can also generate other products. For example, biogas or cassava solid waste can generate other use it as raw material for producing other high value products too. Not only African countries, but also Latin America countries, they have a lot of small scale starch production from cassava as well. So I think we could transfer the knowledge and technology uh, for starch production, ethanol production to those regions too.
Thank you very much for elaborating on that. I have myself a lot more questions. I see also we do have another question from Jossie, but as I believe we have to close now because it's already 5 to 6. I would have loved to hear more about also on the social impacts on the ground in the region, but I think we will have to do that at another time. Now I would like to use the last minute to thank especially the speakers. It was great to hear from you and get an insight into the project. So thank you very much. And also thank you to the audience for your interesting questions. And I think now we can go back to the main stage.
Thank you very
to
much.
everyone.